Alright folks, Jamal here with Gentle Bear Knife Works. I apologize because my phone died, and so there's a few things that I did not show on this build. So again, this is my... no, I can't remember the name of it. This is my Shadow Claw design. And what I failed to show you was the drilling of the holes in the tang, which is kind of boring anyways. It's drilling holes, folks. So, and then I also put in the sharpening choil at the bottom here. And that is so you don't grind into the ricasso when you're sharpening your knife. And then also the jimping on the top of the knife. So I don't know if you can see it in the video, but you can actually see the copper through the jimping, which is kind of cool. Anyways, it will really pop towards the end of this video, or towards the end of this series, when I blacken the steel. I just ordered some, it's called gator piss. It's a type of etching oil. I usually use ferric chloride, but they now make gator piss in heavy, which is extreme darkening, so I'm going to try it out. If it doesn't work, you can always resort to a coffee bath. Instant coffee with hot water. You soak it for 2 hours and it comes out blackety black. It's nice. And that really pops with the CuMai. It really brings out that copper ridge line. So anyways, I'm about to start grinding my bevels. So a lot of people do hand ground bevels, hand ground bevels, but I'm not that good yet. Practice makes perfect, I know, but these are custom orders and I want to get them perfect for my clients. So that's what I'm doing. I'm using my sharpening jig. So part of this is and there's one little step that I forgot here, and I'll show you in a second. But I use a gauge to put in my bevel line and the false edge line on the top here. So what I will do first is I will put the false edge in. You always start with that, and then you grind your bevel into the false edge. It's just, there's something about it. It ends up kind of gives you a little curvature in the false edge, and it's just an easier step to do first. So to do that, I usually just angle my table, typically at about 70 degrees or so, maybe sometimes a little bit less, but in this case, this knife is kind of thick, so I don't know that I'll do a 70 degree. It's actually called a swedge, the false edge at the top. I don't know that I'll do 70 degrees, but maybe I'll start off with 60 and see how it looks, and then we'll take it from there. So I need to scribe some lines in the top of the knife, and then I will scribe some lines on the side for the angle of my bevel right here. Right there, from the sharpening choil to the edge of the bevel, and then we'll take it from there. So let's see if it'll focus or get lighter. It's kind of dark right now. Maybe if I stick my face in here. There we go! Now bring there then. Okay, so swedge lines. Bevel line. It's the top one. I was going to use this bottom one, but I decided I'm going to go with the top one, and I will probably go to the bottom line for I'm using a 60 grit belt right now. Probably go to the bottom line for the 60 grit. I don't like to get the bevels ground too much before I do my heat treat. Otherwise it could cause warping and such. So this is a really thick knife, so I don't think I'll have much warping issues. But that's my process. That's what I like to do. So let me scribe my little lines in here real quick. I will come back. I'll just be right there at my little workbench. And actually, maybe I'll bring my stuff down here. All right, So what I typically do is I will start from the edge of the sharpening choil here, and then get the face in there again so it lightens up. Okay. I'll start at the edge of the sharpening choil here, and then I usually scribe a line in the top of my knife where I am going to take the and actually, as a matter of fact, I can just use one of these lines in the jimping. Maybe I'll line it up with the third line. That should give me, let's see, third line should give me a nice angle. So that's what I will do. So just got my little handy dandy little scribe here. Start at the back of my sharpening choil and go to the third line on my jimping and draw, draw, draw. Mark Kistler, Imagination Station. Probably hear me quote a bunch of movies. I love movies. I'm a big time movie buff. It's just what I do. So there we go, and get that line in there. Okay, now you can probably see that line. Now I'll do the other side and we'll get to grinding. Line it up again with the back of my sharpening choil and the third line in my jimping. And draw, draw, draw. Okay, now I got both sides done. Now I'll line it up in my sharpening jig and we'll get going. I'm losing light here. I don't like to grind my bevels when it starts getting dark. I do have a little light that I can attach to my grinder here. But we'll see. I'm going to start it. First things first, I do also need to scribe some lines in the edge of the knife so I know where to take my bevels. So I've got this handy dandy little scribe here specifically for this, and I can use it to scribe my lines in. It's looking like pretty good placement. I'll tell you, you do this enough times, you don't really measure much anymore. You just kind of go with your eyes and trust your gut. And my gut was wrong. So, let's try that again, shall we? It's looking a little better. Okay. I don't know if light. Okay. I don't know if you'll be able to see that much, but I will use the outside lines that I just scribed in there, and that's where I'll take my edge for now, and I'm going to do the same thing on the top for the swedge. Okay, looks a lot better on the top because I don't have 10,000 lines. So there we go. Just kind of gives you some reference points when you're doing your grinds. I decided to go ahead and hook up the light anyways. I'm losing some light here, so I like to have some good brightness when I'm working on this stuff. Make sure I can fully see what I'm doing. Okay. Nice thing about this is that when I drill my holes, it makes it easier to attach to my sharpening jig. Now I need to set the angle, probably set it at about a 7 to start with. See how quick we get to my scribes on my edge and how close we are to the actual bevel line. And then we can adjust from there. Okay, I want to stop because I want to show you something. Now, this is the cool part when you're doing CuMai. Let me block this light. Maybe this will lighten up a little bit. Stick my face in here again. Here's the cool part. So you can see that copper starting to come through on the bevel. Now that copper line will start to rise. The further I get up on the bevel to this line, that copper line will move up and we'll start grinding down into the core. So I'll have copper on the bevel, but there'll be a nice chunk of the core steel here left at the tip, so that when I sharpen this, I'm only sharpening 1095 high carbon steel and the copper's not anywhere near the edge. So super cool process, and it's just gorgeous. So anyways, I'll continue doing what I'm doing, and I'll show you again in a minute. Now, another thing that I forgot to mention here, when you're doing this, I usually adjust I adjust the belt here so that it is just pretty much in line with this side of the platen. And then when I go to grind the other side of the knife, I will adjust it. It's called tracking. I'll track it back that way to the same distance from the edge of the platen, so I get consistency with my bevel line at the ricasso. Alright, so I'm going to stop again so I can show you what this is looking like. I don't know how much this is going to lighten up, but now you can really see that copper line starting to travel up the bevel. Super cool. Got some decent travel in it, but not quite as much as I was hoping for, but that's okay. It's still going to look real nice. So, super cool. Take it just a little bit further for now and then move on to the other side. Okay, so I am at my bevel line. I don't want to take it any further with the 60 grit belt. But once again, show you the copper coming through really nicely. I really wish I had a little bit more light out here. I suppose I can just do this. There we go. So super cool. And I'll move on to the other side, and then next up after this is the heat treat. So I'm going to end the video here. I'll check back in with you when I'm ready for heat treat, and I'll show you both sides. But that's kind of what it looks like. So have a wonderful evening, folks. Again, like and subscribe, please. If I get at least up to 50 subscribers, I can start doing some YouTube Live. And so I'd love to be able to chat with you as I'm kind of doing the process and answer any questions you may have and such. So have a wonderful evening, folks, and I'll chat with you soon. See ya.